Even though many male kids have yet to be identified, the majority of people are aware of what beta or alpha males are. Most individuals are unaware of the exceptions and how widely persons might vary. What then are the unidentified male types? And how does a sigma male present themselves? We should start by identifying the concealed types of men. On the other hand, alpha men are renowned for their bravery, confidence, decisiveness, and leadership, aside from the beta who is devoted and upholds the alpha's rules to maintain order and structure. Let's go right to the vital information. Sigma males are the ones who don't care about attracting people's attention or looking for approval from others. He enjoys being alone, despite the fact that it is difficult to tell because he is introverted and despises parties, social events, and any other situation where he might run into someone he knows. Do not interpret this incorrectly. Rather than avoiding crowds, he prefers to be recognized and unnoticed by them. You have guessed correctly. The simplest way to describe this kind of individual is as a lone wolf. When you consider that beta and gamma males are behind beta and gamma males in the social hierarchy, it is not surprising that sigma males and alpha males have many of the same personality traits and features. The sigma guy will opt to sit outside this hierarchy and observe from a distance, confident in the knowledge that he doesn't conform to the expectations of this social hierarchy, even though they are equal in status. Despite having many similarities, there are a few things that the sigma accomplishes far better than the alpha, and those are the things we will be writing about in this article. Not sensing pressure to compete or being threatened. Alpha males are obsessive competitors who strive to rule their surroundings. They crave attention, and it might be difficult for them if they are not the center of attention. The only person a sigma guy cares about dominating is himself. He doesn't view other people as opponents and doesn't feel threatened by them. Instead, he chooses to base his opinion of other people on their abilities and contributions, as well as their unique personalities and characteristics. He mocks the alpha male's intrinsic drive for competition and, to be completely honest, thinks it is a terrible waste of time and effort. Communicating his feelings without becoming aggressive. The dominant male. He is regarded as dominant, boisterous, and loud, having the propensity to come across as fairly forceful and threatening, particularly when it comes to expressing himself. The sigma, however, dislikes this kind of mentality and, despite having some similarities to an alpha male, is better at expressing his ideas and beliefs without being aggressive or intimidating. He maintains his composure at all times, and if a heated argument breaks out or a difficult scenario arises, he is typically the only one who can defuse it. The sigma man would sooner cut his losses than engage in a fight because he views conflict as a waste of time and energy. The alpha typically enjoys aggressive confrontation and the in-your-face energy that it brings, but if he is forced into a state of fight, he will use strategy to defeat the enemy rather than brute force. The sigma male prefers to utilize his mind to express himself, even while the alpha male employs his brawn, since he is more likely to spend time working on his physical fitness. Being genuinely nonconforming. The sigma male is well known for being a nonconformist and non-compliant with authority. This means he chooses to sit on the outside of the social hierarchy, along with all of its norms and expectations. He is the personification of a rebel without a cause, who goes against the grain, and this comes to him as naturally as breathing and sleeping. The alpha, on the other hand, may pretend to rebel against society and brand himself as a bad boy, a maverick who walks to the beat of his own drum, but the difference is that for the alpha this is all an act that he puts on to stand out from the crowd and to get what he wants, not a natural nonconformer at all, unlike the sigma male who is as nonconforming as they come, by default. He doesn't adhere to trends, feel compelled to act in ways that society expects of him, or act in ways that are thought to be the correct way to live. There is nothing that can stop the sigma from being his own man, despite the fact that his determination to forge his own path, act on his own intuition, and upend society in order to be true to himself may cause some ructions along the way. Staying authentic and true to himself. So, it's no surprise that something the sigma male does far better than his alpha male counterpart is staying true to who he is with his authentic nature. The sigma man is fully aware of who he is, what he stands for, what he desires in life, and most crucially, what he does not desire. He will never compromise his principles or act unethically. Regardless of the cost, he values those as much as the alpha does personal gain. The sigma prefers to live his life devoid of guilt and deception, even if he is the only one impacted. He has no patience for those who sell their souls to the devil. He doesn't want to be on his deathbed one day, feeling regret for leading a life that was out of line with his true self. The alpha doesn't think that far ahead, and neither is he likely to care. The alpha only cares about the present moment and what he can personally gain from it. Relying on himself for validation. The sigma man is completely conscious of his identity, values, goals for the future, and, most importantly, his lack of goals. He will never abandon his morals or behave unethically. He values those just as much as the Alpha desires personal gain, no matter the cost. Even if he is the only one affected, the Sigma wishes to live his life guilt and deception free. Those who give their souls to the devil are not tolerated by him. He doesn't want to look back on his life and feel remorse for living it in a way that wasn't true to who he was. He may have tons of mediocre friends in order to achieve this validation and increased feeling of self-worth, as opposed to the Sigma male who is more likely to have a much smaller group of very close friends. The Sigma doesn't see any sense in this whatsoever. He knows the validation you get from others is only temporary until you need another hit of validation from someone else. You can never achieve true fulfillment, and it means absolutely nothing if your self-worth doesn't first come from within. For the Sigma, quality over quantity wins every time. Being self-sufficient and liberated. As we learned in number 5 on this list, one of the main traits of being a Sigma male is having a ton of self-reliance and independence. The Sigma has this in spades. Self-sufficiency is a trait that is most common in the Sigma archetype, and he does this far better than the Alpha does. The Alpha is more likely to need to rely on others to be enough, even though he would never admit it, of course. The Sigma doesn't need anyone to take care of him or do things for him to help him to survive in this life. He recognizes his own problems and can easily solve them himself. However, he won't be ashamed to ask for help if he really needs it. After all, being able to ask for help can also be considered being self-sufficient. But overall, the Sigma avoids relying on anyone else, including the authority to live in a way that allows him to control his own destiny and live in a way that is true to himself. For example, as a free spirit, he will be more likely not to own his own house in exchange for the freedom that comes with renting. He relishes his liberty and ability to depend on himself, so it wouldn't be surprising to anybody if he decides to travel the world alone with nothing but a backpack and a passport. This doesn't faze him. If he encounters challenges, he has the confidence in himself to know he will be able to handle them. Respecting boundaries. Yes, the Alpha has tons of confidence, and yes, he's very extroverted, social, and likes to be the life and soul of the party, but there is one thing that the just as confident but more introverted Sigma male does so much better than the Alpha that might surprise you. And that is having respect for boundaries and the comfort levels of other people. In order to get what he wants, the Alpha will bulldoze, bully and force his way through situations, manipulating others if need be without regard for their feelings or level of comfort with him. If the Alpha wants to talk to someone to fulfill whatever ulterior motive he has, he won't let anyone or anything stand in his way. He is likely to prey on those who are more empathetic and sensitive individuals, those more likely to remain polite and somewhat engaged, and less likely to cause him a problem. How charming. No, but really, the Alpha is incredibly charming, so that is how he manages to get away with it. The Sigma on the other hand wouldn't dream of continuing to talk or behave in a way that would make someone else feel uncomfortable. He understands the importance of personal boundaries and will respect them, in turn expecting others to respect his own boundaries too. This seems fair enough. While the Alpha and Sigma are equally as charming and charismatic, the Sigma will read body language and act accordingly, whereas the Alpha may also have picked up on these social cues but won't care in the slightest. Being alone. In comparison to the Alpha male who needs socialization in order to feel energized and rejuvenated, the Sigma male is fantastically capable of the simple act of being alone. This is due to one of the main differences in personality types between the Alpha and the Sigma being extroversion versus introversion. As an introvert, with some describing them as an introverted Alpha, the Sigma male truly enjoys being alone, and he loves nothing more than just to be in his own company, as this is how he rejuvenates and re-energizes. Being alone gives him the space to work on himself, whether it's for his emotional, physical, or spiritual well-being, or working on personal projects. This explains why he doesn't tend to be such an avid user of social media, preferring instead to participate in meaningful activities such as developing and cultivating real relationships, new experiences, or gaining financial independence. Putting himself first, always. You may think this sounds like Alpha male behavior, and you would be mostly right, but one major difference is that Alpha will sacrifice his own needs and wants for the good of his tribe, sacrificing his own happiness by instead prioritizing the needs of highly valued members of the said tribe before his own. The Sigma male, on the other hand, doesn't care what is good for the tribe, as he is a lone wolf, and unless the tribe serves as a short-term practical or rational solution for the Sigma, well, then he doesn't want to know. He looks out for number one first and foremost, despite how others may perceive him for doing so. Whether it's a personal, professional, or romantic goal he is pursuing at that moment, he will prioritize that, and ultimately himself, above all else.